Hello. How's it going? You okay? You happy? You clean? You safe? Safe from Maldavia's fig tree? Bam. No, you? I'm happy, clean and safe. Oh, there's sorbets roaming around, so who knows how long that'll last. I mean, this is... I feel like this was never going to be anything more than like a test run, right? And he was certainly... I haven't watched his latest video. That's what we're going to look at today. But he was certainly aware that it was a bit of a moonshot. Bit of a moonshot. I think he even explained that he's aware it's hard to get anyone to do anything. Forget just getting gamers to do anything. It's hard to get anyone to do anything. He had a dream, he had a hope. On principle, I supported him. And I support that. Fuck these people. Prove that I'm not pirate software in disguise. You think I'm gonna have ferrets in this house? Holy fuck! Talking about animal rescues. Michaela, what's her name? So, Lucky Bee used to watch Save a Fox. Lucky Bee, well, I'd say used to. It's not like the channel's gone. I don't know if she'll continue to watch it. But Lucky Bee watches Save a Fox. And she'd show videos to me and stuff that she thought were interesting. The main lady, the main fox rescue lady, fucking killed herself yesterday. Well, no. Killed herself a few days ago. It was announced yesterday. Jesus Christ. Yeah. You know my position on people threatening suicide. Like, if someone's like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself if you don't do this, fuck those people. But I didn't even know this chick was having people fuck with her. This is the one where, like, I do feel sorry for her. I mean, don't kill yourself, especially if you have kids, which she does. But she's definitely not a bullshitter because she did it. But also, she never indicated publicly that I'm aware of that she was even struggling. Yeah, real rough. Clearly, genuinely someone who was in distress. Yeah. You're pretty sure it's not just the internet comments? Yeah, her husband said apparently what brought it over the line was. So, okay, for context. Apparently she had a whole community of people whose opinion was that she was essentially abusing the animals, that she was a fraud. You know, you can see on Reddit people saying she's a hoarder, not a rescue, so on and so forth. Apparently, my impression from watching her husband's video is that leaked into real life. Apparently, personal friends started repeating things that were being said on the Snark subreddit and stuff, and it seems like that's probably the line where she couldn't bear it anymore. And you know, she's got has a laundry list of struggles, autism, BPD. That's a big one where he said borderline. I was like, oh shit, brother. Other stuff as well. Evidence, proof of what? Which bit? Do you mean you think she's still alive? Or do you mean that people were doing this online? I don't know about her personal life, but certainly people were doing it online. You can go look at it on... I wouldn't call what I've seen harassment, because it was people talking about her on a subreddit, but the people who were maybe she, I'm not saying she wasn't harassed. I just personally haven't looked into it enough to see that yet, but I can confirm absolutely there were people who were really obsessed, I think is the right word, certainly for one of them. The person who made the subreddit. Oh, proof of her abusing animals. Their proofs like little snippets from videos where they're like, look at this animal, They're like, oh, the fucking number discrepancies on these animals, she's killing them or something, shit like that. I don't know. And apparently the initial thing that made the subreddit's owner make the subreddit and start doing it was they claimed that there was a whistleblower, a volunteer, who got bitten by a bobcat. And alleged that Michaela wouldn't let them go to the hospital. Because apparently the bobcat was being kept illegally or something. The story as I read it on the subreddit...
Rambling Entertained fed the streamer a $5 super bear.
There might be stuff.
It's more clear when you remember Pirate Software as a co-founder of Off-Brand
I'm aware.
Publisher.
Rivals of Aether
Their
2.
first published game was a live service.
Rivals of Aether 2, I'm aware. The story this person posted on the subreddit raised some questions for me, because what they said was they claimed that the volunteer told them they were bitten and told not to go to the hospital. The bite then became infected, and they wanted to go to the hospital, but Michaela continued to stop them or tried to do something. Which, what was the time frame in which it fucking became infected? Why did you go to the owner of the place you volunteer at before going to the fucking hospital? Oh, they said Michaela told them to say it was a cat, a regular cat. You get fucking bitten by a bobcat, you're not going to be able to... Fucking giant gash in your arm. Oh, Tibbles did this. No. Sounds fucking stupid to me. I don't know. Sounds sus. Maybe. I haven't looked at all the stuff they were posting. Maybe there's some stuff that has merit and is more substantial. I just looked at... Because, of course, after this news came out, their little snark subreddit went private, and I don't have access to it. So I used Wayback Machine. I used Wayback Machine to look at the kind of things they were posted, and it would be like... One of them was like, she's kicking one of them, and it's like a fucking video where she sort of accidentally bumps it with her foot. And it's like, if that's the standard, I don't have high hopes. I don't have high hopes for them, you know, like having a good case. But maybe there's stuff. I don't know. Maybe there is stuff. Very sad though. Yeah, I mean, I can quickly peep again before we get into the... as I'm sure you can tell from the title, we're going to look at Ross's update on Stop Killing Games. Unsurprisingly, they don't have the signatures they need, but... Oh, the other thing I did see was the main person on the subreddit, I presume the creator, they have the pinned post where they talk about why they made the subreddit. If you look into that person's Reddit history, they're going around the whole website of Reddit, finding any mention of this Michaela chick who killed herself and being like, did you know she's an animal abuser? Like actual obsessive shit. So, let me go find what I saw. Well, this might not be exactly what I saw, but there are a few captures. Let me try and, Oh. Hold up. You were sad at first, but then I said BPD and she had a husband and kids. Then another person said she had an OnlyFans. I was sad at first, but then I learned she shows her tits online. Oh. What's going on here? How can I find this? It's not loading well. Hang on. I know, Zara. I'm just picking out the one example that's funny. Like the poster titled things like using animals she bred for fundraising, Michaela kicking Arctic fox. One of them, Michaela selling bits of Ruby's fur. Ethical issues at the rescue, Anubis injury. Oh, this is the big one. This is a big one. Michaela posting about her husband's $400,000 car. Watch this one. I can't get an archive of the actual post. But like, what do you... Let's look that up. And there was okay. Fuck me. Another insight into this person potentially being intensely retarded. Oh, it's aircon noise. I can probably turn the aircon off at this point. It was hotter earlier. Apparently the aircon will not burn out. And I can switch to the other filter that's not as intense if I don't have that running. This person tried to say, hey, if they need money, they should sell his car. It's worth a lot of money. Ostensibly, their take wasn't, I think he's embezzling funds from the rescue. They were like, he's got a $400,000 car. He should sell that. So their level of critique and the incisiveness of it is a bit fucked up. Hang on. Save a Fox car. Hang on. Save a Fox car. They claim it's a $400,000 car. What's going on here? We could watch the video, but it's just very sad. I have not seen your breakfast. Hang on. Like the creator of the Snark subreddit has apparently also deleted their Reddit account. So it's just getting harder and harder to find it. Alright. Nightmare. Something that needs some focus and digging. If you don't already know it. If you don't already know the lore. Oh! They wiped all of the posts on the subreddit. They wiped everything. It was just private before. Now it's nuked. Yo, people are gonna find you and kill you, dog. I don't know if they know how much danger there is. This isn't incitement or a threat. This is speculation. Like, they are in so much danger. Like, they have no idea. Well, I guess they do have an idea. That's why they're deleting everything. But, like you are fucked. Let me show you. I'll show you one part of the video, and then we'll get on to the gamer stuff. I'll show you her husband's message to those people. His message to the people who were saying things about her online. It's pretty fucking rough. I was watching this video, I was tearing up. I didn't cry, but my eyes were getting wet, man. My eyes were getting wet watching this in bed with Lucky Bee last night.
And to those of you that pushed her to this, every one of you that had been responsible for making her feel this way, I wish you had to see me find her.
But this is rough.
And I wish you had to watch me perform CPR on her for 15 minutes until the first responders arrived. And I wish you had to watch helplessly as paramedics attempted to revive her lifeless body. And I wish you had to hear the screams and the cries of her family. I wish you had to see tiny, heartbroken Freya try to understand why she could never see her mommy again. I wish you understood what you were doing before you did it. Before it had to go this far.
Like, Zara, I agree. If you have a kid, do not kill yourself. But it sounds like she had a lot of problems. Like, shit was stacked against her mentally. So it's not the same as someone like some asshole ruining his life and then piecing out. This is someone with a lot of issues. So it's a bit different. Anyone who was on that subreddit is in fucking danger. I wonder if they know how much danger they're in now. And I don't mean legally. I mean, like, people want their skin. People want to make a parachute from their skin so they can play Fortnite with it. Yeah, Luxon, it's hard to watch. I'm not going to watch it either. We're doing Ross. I just wanted to show you, like, it's... Apparently they already have Zera. Apparently one of the people is a deranged trans furry. So, like, they're done. It's over. Like, it was over already because of the kind of people involved. It's double over for them. It's... Yeah, the Save a Fox lady, Michaela, she killed herself a few days ago. Apparently I didn't know there was a bunch of shit-talking accusations online. Apparently that started leaking into her real life. People around her and stuff. Friends and family or whatever. I don't know family. Friends, certainly, he said. Her husband was saying. And that was the line where I guess it just like crushed her. And she has a lot of struggles. Autism, but also, you know, like borderline personality disorder and some other things he listed. Yeah. Just crushed her. Yeah. An aid worker says, is her OnlyFans still up? Every dollar goes to helping Save a Fox. You can Wayback Machine them if it's been archived. And the archives are a bit broken. We've certainly got the Reddit usernames. Not that I'm going to do anything to them. I'm just saying this is speculation and prediction that something's going to be done to them. Not that I'm inciting it. I'm not saying you should. I just think it's pretty obvious they're in danger. Anyway, something a bit lighter. There's our light appetizer. I was going to look at that Struthless guy. You know, Ian Danskin got like 150k. There was another YouTuber who got 200k from fans, and it was just in the news that he still isn't explaining why he needs it or why he needed it. And I was trying to find the original video. It wasn't on the forums. I can't fucking find it anywhere. If anyone has the original Struthless video that he's taken down, oh, he was actually inspired by Innuendo Studios. Fuck me. He was in the news, so I figured this would be a good way to get back in, get to look at him when I missed it originally. But I can't find the original video of Struthless, so we're just doing Ross today. Good boy Ross. There was a thing when I uploaded a video talking about Stop Killing Games. I think it was a react. It might have been a non-react. I don't remember. People were assuming from the thumbnail and title that I was shitting on Stop Killing Games when I was just fucking shitting on Pirate Software and bigging up Stop Killing Games. Fuck me. Jesus Christ. Anyway, the end of Stop Killing Games. You might notice something. You see how it's broken up into sections? Tiny chunk, tiny chunk, tiny chunk. Media coverage, everything he's been attempting. Tiny chunk, tiny chunk. Look at this big line. Look at this huge section right in the middle and into the end. Right in the middle. Well, earlier than the middle. This section is a response to pirate software. So, oh baby, yes, yes.
Hello, this is probably the final update to the Stop Killing Games campaign. Though I'm coming at you a little bit like a time traveler would. It'll make sense in a minute. As a refresher, Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement to stop publishers from effectively destroying video games they have already sold to customers. Now, we've gone about this in many ways, but it's easiest to divide this up by things we've already done and things we can still do. Because there's about a dozen things we've already done.
Strange, you know, I'm going to say something insane. I like Ross too. From what I've seen of him. Oh, fuck. I'm going to say a couple things. There's a very strange phenomenon going on here, and I don't know how many of you will agree. I think he looks more bold than I do. I think when you are actually bald, it just becomes normal. When you have hair like that, you're constantly confronted with it. You can't stop noticing it. It never becomes normal. Second point regarding his appearance. If this man were a furry, his persona would be a Hyrax. I'm familiar with Devin Townsend's Skullet. He looked more bold with the Skullet, yeah. He looks like a Hyrax. I want to hear him hissing now. Hey Bunny, how's it going? How's the spine?
Done. Yeah, in fact, here's a list if you want to pause this. Going over this again will be a video in itself. I'll talk more about some of this towards the end. So that just leaves things we can still do, which are only 2 items. One is for the UK.
An assload of painkillers? I didn't realize they gave you suppositories.
To sign a government petition to bring this issue before Parliament. Though, keeping it real, I'm not terribly optimistic about this one, since the government response has been a mess by every definition. It's a long and boring story, but the short version is it's hit a bureaucratic roadblock and will stay stuck unless it gets more signatures. But the one that has a lot of power, so much so I think it could change the course of gaming history, is the European Citizens Initiative. Now, I said I'm approaching this like a time traveler because with the trajectory we're on, these are both going to fail.
Yeah.
So I figure, why wait until they actually do to tell people? Both the petitions end in July. The Citizens Initiative in particular on July 31st. This video probably won't change the timeline. It's just a last-ditch attempt to wake people up on it.
You have to give it one last little shot. Just because.
The European Citizens Initiative failing kind of stings. Again, this one is crazy powerful, but the hurdle we just couldn't get past was that it requires 1 million signatures from citizens of EU countries. And we've only made it just under halfway. That's really too bad, because
look. In terms of what you needed, that's not good. As a first shot at something like this, and not coming from someone who's gigantic, and with people running interference, you did okay.
I have high confidence this would have solved the problem of publishers destroying video games.
I would have guessed that it would get not even half of that. My guess would have been like sub 200k.
Now, why do I say that? What a lot of people don't realize is that in the EU especially, It's almost a state of lawlessness regarding the practice of game destruction.
That sounds... Stop! You're making the publishers sound based. Lawless game destruction. That sounds hard as fuck. Ross, no! Your Fortnite skins? Gone. We live in a lawless state of game destruction.
Okay, I don't want to put people...
Tim Sweeney. Tim Sweeney deleting our DLC.
People to sleep here, but the quick legal argument is that the vast majority of games with an online requirement say they can be terminated at any time for any reason. Or Blizzard likes to say any or no reason. But according to the EU Commission, that might be a violation of Directive 93/13 EEC, which protects consumers against unfair terms and consumer contracts. So if that term is unfair, that means that part of the contract is null and void. And if it's null and void, then what does the law say about how long your purchase lasts?
I think we should take it as far as possible. Actually, I want there to be a legal judgment that is null and void. And then game devs should be enslaved to maintain it in perpetuity.
Well, it doesn't. That's the whole mess. So if there are no legal guidelines, what are consumer expectations for how long video games?
I come off as being on Team Thor? You're trolling or fucking retarded.
Last. Well, indefinitely. Even the average online multiplayer video games from the 90s can still work today if you didn't change the hardware or software. So the law wasn't written for this situation. The industry's terms might possibly be illegal, and traditional expectations are games last indefinitely. Now, of course, publishers can't support games indefinitely, but by not giving expiration dates or...
No. The fantasy of having those terms, that section of the contract struck and then the rest of it standing, has shown me the possible utopia wherein once a dev starts working on an online game, once a studio starts working on an online game, the government at gunpoint will force them to maintain it forever. Better be a hit.
End-of-life plans, that might be the situation they've put themselves in. I cannot emphasize enough what a mess this is. If you were an impartial judge just trying to interpret the law, you'd have a headache. I don't know what you would do. You'd probably tell the EU Commission they need to make a law on this because this is a glaring omission. So being in the middle of this quagmire right now, if we had rolled up with 1 million signatures demanding that the EU give us basic consumer rights for video games, that would have been the easy way out for regulators, because then they would have a mandate. That's what I meant about my half-joke slide about politicians liking easy wins.
Yeah.
This situation is such a mess.
I have no respect for this. Do you remember that? Is that going to be responded to, or is he responding to more? Is he responding... it looks like it is that video. That fucking... Dude, my piss is going to boil. Saying... I don't think you understand... Saying I sound like I'm on Team Pirate Software. Bro, you have no fucking idea. Just wait.
That trying to settle this under existing law is more work than creating laws under a consumer mandate. And thanks to the action we've pushed at consumer protection agencies, doing nothing is no longer an option for multiple countries. We've made sure of that. But none of that matters because the initiative is failing. Now, my original thought was that ironically, it's difficult to get gamers to care about games because a whole lot of people are cruising at maximum apathy these days.
It's worse as well because, you know, there's always another keyring being jangled in their face. There's always another keyring being jangled in their face. Too busy gooning to the latest gotcha. They care about games, just the current one they're playing, okay?
But I think it's more than that. For most of the past year, the initiative has bounced back and forth between being the third and second most popular active initiative in the EU. The only ones that topped it were far more serious social issues. So that says to me, the problem isn't getting gamers to care about games, it's getting people to care about anything.
Yeah.
And frankly, that is a checkmate move.
You need to get gamers to play Postal, then you'll understand how to get people to sign a petition.
If people can't care enough to write their name on a form to protect their rights and stop things they care about from being destroyed, then yeah, I can't do much with that. I am not a Care Bear that can shoot light out of my stomach to make people give a damn. Plus, it's hard to know how many people don't care and how many never knew about the...
I think he needs to get hyraxification surgery. If he's got the basic morphology, if he just became more Hyrax-like, every clip of him will be viral. And then you could push it hard enough.
Initiative in the first place. It's certainly not for a lack of trying. I have tried to push this everywhere I can, though I'm an amateur at all of this. I have a medium-sized YouTube channel for making comedy videos involving gaming. That's it for my advantages. Now, I've tried to leverage this to push the initiative, get as much help as possible.
Yep.
But I've never been great at marketing and networking, you know, stuff you need on a campaign. Yeah, in fact, I never wanted to do any of this. I've been beating the drum on the problem of game destruction going on 10 years now.
I never asked for
but
this.
The problem only got worse and worse, and nobody was doing a damn thing about it. So when the opportunity to do something finally presented itself in the form of the biggest game shutdown from a European company, I pounced on it as hard as I could.
Yeah.
So I've hated doing almost every aspect of this campaign and will be very happy for it to end.
Just sad.
But I would have hated myself even more if nobody stepped up to do anything.
Fair enough.
So in light of that, I think
I like him because it's one of those rare cases where his heart is absolutely in this shit. This is real. This is real. He cares. Very rare. Very fucking rare.
Exposure has been phenomenal. We've gotten a lot of support or just fair coverage from major YouTubers. Some ordinary gamers, Yong Ye. Louis Rossman has been a bro especially. Gamers...
I always call him Yongyi. Not that I say his name a lot, but I would always go Yongyi.
Nexus, Linus Tech Tips, Game Linked, Philip DeFranco, Asmongold, Black Panther, Second Wind, including Yahtzee and the other Frost, Spawn Wave, Civi 11, Mandalore Games, Bellular News, Digital Foundry, Josh Drive Hayes, Tech Tangents. Honestly,
Ross, where's my video? What the fuck, dude? I put my neck out for you.
It goes on and on. I'm leaving out a lot of people. My apologies on that.
That video got fives of thousands of views.
We've gotten game news outlet coverage. PC Gamer, IGN, Rock Paper Shotgun,
Kotaku,
no. Tech.
This is like saying, we even got cancer.
Spot, Eurogamer, PC Games.
We even got cancer.
Zen, Destructoid, Game Rant. There's more.
Furlongs.
Big tree is that loser's furlongs.
That loser's furlongs? I don't know what that means in this context.
And regular news outlets. Metro, Euronews, Variety, Forbes. Also many non-English outlets for France, Germany, Italy, Poland, Hungary. There's a lot.
A little,
and some developers.
But I already ate.
Running with Scissors, Landfall Games.
Okay. I'm not surprised. I think I may have even seen it. Those guys know how to get you to sign a petition, like I said.
Mala Industria Games, Octay, those awesome guys.
Hogtay?
And developers of emulators like Dolphin, PCSX2, and PPSSPP. And some more indie developers I may have lost track of.
Sorry, I wasn't focusing enough on exactly what he was saying, because I just knew it was listing emulator.
And PPSSPP. And some more indie developers I may have lost
I heard something Princess PP.
track of. I'm sorry. And this last one is hearsay, but it's my favorite if true. Developers from Ubisoft Ivory Tower. The people who made The Crew, which is the game we used to get all this action rolling in the first place. Yeah, it turns out a lot of developers who spend years of their lives working on something don't like seeing it destroyed by publishers. Who'd have thought? And I've been saying yes to almost all offers for interviews, questioning, or any kind of outreach opportunities that came our way. I honestly don't know how many interviews I've done on this issue at this point. It's easily dozens, though not all of them were on video. One was even for BBC Radio.
They did a Lolicon watch party.
And then there would be the spontaneous offers that would pop up throughout the entire campaign. Like working with members of European Parliament to push through questions to the EU Commission. Having meetings with the BEUC as another route to the EU Commission.
Running with Scissors are actually based. It was cool when they said it was chill if people pirated their games. I know they're fun. I have drunk with some of them. I've had drinks with some of them. I've played Cards Against Humanity with some of the Running with Scissors team.
Meetings with representatives from GOG.
About 10 years ago now.
That one was looking promising.
I couldn't tell you which ones, because I don't know who they are. I don't know their names. But I did.
Until they fired the representatives we were talking with, then backpedaled. That sucked.
Indeed. The very same, Shareds. The very same. Well, there were 2 Gamergate meetups I went to. One of them had Running with Scissors.
Meetings with representatives from...
The one with Running with Scissors also had like a filthy homeless woman like just come in and start walking around and sitting with people.
Heineken. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. Heineken, of all companies, supports the initiative. Okay. Because it ties in well with some gamer lounge campaign they have going.
All right.
That one was going to be a huge boost for us. But they ended up having to postpone it a year, which is too late. I've had meetings with Fudo, F-Camp.
I will never again drink Heineken. Which, I mean, doesn't mean much because I didn't plan on starting either.
Probably the funniest of these was another member of European Parliament who was also on the Committee on Culture and Education. Their staff reached out to me, set appointments, canceled, they kept having to reschedule 3 times. And this is all on top of the...
Speaking of beers, because Heineken came... I bought a beer today that I'm going to drink after the stream. There's been a little trend of beer that uses, like, waste products. not like literal garbage, but, like, there was a beer that used, like, surplus bread that was produced. Like, when surplus bread got produced, it would be given to this beer company and they'd brew beer with the bread. And this one uses any kind of wheat-based product that's surplus and would have been disposed of. This one is a pasta beer I got.
The day-to-day outreach, organizing, and just basic communication with God knows how many people. Again, I've hated doing this because I have to fight all my instincts not to bother people. I hate being a pest, but you kind of have to do...
I feel like it would be a really good little meme clip. Like, you superimpose his head onto a little fly buzzing around, and he just goes, I hate being a pest. Just totally out of context. Just like, the sketch is just this bug doesn't like being a bug. I hate being a pest.
Some of that
just an absurdist meme.
At this point, I've written a couple thousand emails connected to the campaign, trying to do outreach, research, and just keeping things together. I haven't done that much on Twitter because I don't have much of a presence there. Same goes for Reddit. Yeah. Right.
I hate being a pest, but... And then he anamorphs. Yeah! And then runs up the wall. I don't know if Hyraxes are too chill, man.
Reddit. I received so many reports of promotions of the initiative being deleted. And some of the ones that stayed up are some of the most hostile to the initiative that I've seen. Yeah, isn't Reddit just a wonderful place to be nowadays?
Topical. This was before the Save a Fox suicide announcement, by the way. What did Ross know? What did Ross know?
We did get a Discord launched where people could independently organize, so I wouldn't be bottlenecking anything if others have better ideas on what to do. I believe currently they're trying to contact TV stations about this in Europe, something I never would have had a clue how to do. That's exactly the sort of thing I was hoping would emerge. Yeah, I really want to emphasize that from the second the initiative launched, nothing had to go through me. It's been there, in public, this entire time, with easy multilingual guides at StopKillingGames.com. We blazed a trail to make it easy for others to act on this, but that wasn't enough. So it feels like I've been running a rickshaw carrying people to the destination to save games, except it's breaking down halfway. The work on this has never stopped. I never wanted my involvement on the campaign to last this long. I kept hoping after launch, somebody with...
Only old people watch television now? Yeah, but what if you got like an add-on that was like, They're trying to steal the game you got your grandson for Christmas. Stop killing games. That game you got your grandson. They're gonna steal it from him. Sign this petition.
More reach and better at campaigning could just point people to the destination and get it done. But no, I've had to keep hauling that rickshaw. Not every week, but there have been many weeks on the campaign where I've been working 12 to 14 hours a day to keep things moving to get signatures. And the only way I was even able to do that was to burn some of my savings and put everything else on hold. I've been kind of stupid about this because it's our only shot. Again, this is an amateur effort. That means there's no staff and no salary. So if I need help with something and ask a volunteer to help with it and they disappear on me, well, then they disappear on me and I need to do it myself. Or if I can't, then I need to hunt down someone else to help with it and hope they don't disappear on me. Meanwhile, my channel has been suffering, as my viewers can tell you. I'm stretched too thin. Now, I have been maybe fairly criticized for not running a fundraiser for this. There are reasons for that. The first...
Well, yeah, he didn't know where he'd spend it. And additionally, if a big thing is it doesn't have to go through me... that would, like, it's tough because that would be centralizing things, I guess.
First is, until recently, I didn't know where we would spend it. People would say buy ads, but the initiative could be considered political. And YouTube doesn't allow political ads in a lot of EU countries. And neither does Twitch. Good luck reaching gamers without YouTube or Twitch. So taking money with no plan, that's a grift. And another reason is I am one of the worst people to
I agree with the sentiment, but I wouldn't say it's quite a grift. It would be silly. It would be silly, and it would be irresponsible, right? And it's certainly not right. A grift, yeah, is something more.
That sort of thing. Financial paperwork is an Achilles heel of mine and seems to take me 10 times more effort than anything else. I mean, I can do accounting, budgeting, math. That's not a problem. No, I mean having knowledge of all the obscure forms you need to fill out, what all the tax laws that apply are, what all the specialized terminology is, and just all the hidden rules. Now you might say just hire an international tax accountant for multiple countries. Okay, there goes a third of our funding then. So what are we even doing? I cannot emphasize how much I struggle with financial business crap like that. So the thought of me putting together a fundraiser for what might be considered a political fund that needs to adhere to laws in multiple countries, and if I make a mistake that could be considered a crime? Oh, no. That's like asking somebody with severe dyslexia to write a book report on war and peace. I am the wrong person for that job. But I've still been trying, to the best of my ability anyway. I didn't discover this until late in the process, that even though general ads were out, sponsored messages were still an option for some countries. And some mysterious benefactors emerged offering to pay them directly. But that means I needed to find all these channels and broker all these deals. Okay. So as a last-ditch effort, I've been looking through hundreds of targeted non-English gaming channels.
I swear to God, if he said, but they wouldn't do it because they didn't want to go against Pyro Software. I just had this horrible feeling. Luckily, it's not that, but I was about to explode.
Trying to find good candidates for this. Okay. Then work with bilingual liaisons for each language. Then try to put together a contract and figure out what a good offer is for the amount of views we expect. I am so out of my depth on this, but I'm still trying.
You've got the power of this is a good thing. You can fucking barter them down probably a lot more than if you were just trying to like sell beans or something.
At this point, I've browsed through more clickbait AI-generated thumbnails than I have the entire rest of my life.
I watched 700,000 episodes of Strawberry Cancer Cat.
I honestly can't decide which part of the campaign I've hated the most. Acting as an advertising broker, not knowing our budget or what's a good offer, or trying to research laws governing this practice that don't exist, except I didn't know that at the time. So how are these sponsored ads going? Are they going to get us the signatures? As
No.
of recording this, I don't know. It's a Hail Mary pass as it is. I'm just going to assume it won't, and I'm completely spent on ideas on how to get more signatures. I did everything I possibly could to make this campaign work.
Really, the problem is that gamer birth rates are just too low to produce signatures.
It wasn't enough. Or rather, I did everything that made sense to me. I did receive a lot of suggestions of things I do not think would have worked. A bunch of people told me to make short form videos on this. I tried that.
Guys, we have 12 months and even newborns are allowed to sign, so get pregnant right now!
They got a fraction of my usual views. I've been told make more videos on my channel saying the same thing. But lots of views on my channel doesn't help if it's all the same audience.
Yeah.
Because people can only sign once. We have to reach new audiences. I've been told become a full-time streamer. I might consider it if I thought it would work, but I don't. I've been told I should have made a bigger deal about countries crossing minimum thresholds. Well, I didn't want to celebrate that because that's an arbitrary number. They're the minimums. All that really matters is that 1 million number, and we're a long ways away.
Now, I feel like if you celebrated the minimum thresholds being beaten, people would get confused and upset. I think people are dumb and would get confused at that being celebrated. And it might take, obviously you don't have enough fire to get the million, but I think it would have poured some water on the fire as well. And then at the end people would be like, what do you mean there's nothing? You said we beat the thresholds. They wouldn't have understood.
Now, another suggestion has been to make a plea to big gamers, like PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, Moist Critical, Markiplier, anyone like that. Well, yeah, I think that might be a great idea. Our biggest obstacle in the campaign has always been getting enough exposure, and they have exposure. I think any one of them could end this with one video and change gaming history.
Hint.
Problem is, I have no idea how to reach any of them. Plus, I can understand if they might shy away from this. First, they're probably busy people. But second, they may not want the kind of heat that comes with changing gaming history.
No. We go to Jacksepticeye and tell him, hey, Mr. S.I., Mr. Beast has been shitting on this. But Mr. Beast said he's really scared of Stop Killing Games. He thinks it's gonna stop his AI thumbnails for some reason. Don't look into it. This is true. Mr. Septiceye. Mr. Beast hates this.
Even if it's for the better. And third, if they back this, then 1 million people might mob them to back something else, and then there's no end to it. So I actually can understand some people wanting to sit this out. I mean, yeah, it really sucks that we can't get enough attention on this badly needed change in the games industry, but I'm not shocked either. Honestly, I'm already punching way, way above my weight class on this. My main promotion video for it got a little under 250,000 views, and about 15% of my audience is from EU countries who are eligible to sign.
Yeah,
so that means...
I don't remember if he said that before, but that was always something I was thinking. It's not just raw numbers, it's who are those numbers.
I shouldn't have expected much more than 30 to 40,000 signatures from my audience, and we're over 10 times that. It's almost like a lot of people out there don't like having their games destroyed. Anyway, most of the criticism I've seen for how I've run this campaign kind of comes down to be more popular. Yeah, sure, maybe everybody else knows how to do that. I don't. I kind of view that critique as similar to don't be poor financial advice. And that's from people who support the campaign. For all the support and fair coverage we've received, there's been some opposition too.
Ooh, let's go.
Though I want to say 80, maybe even 90% of people who are against the
don't understand it.
Are against it because they think it's doing something it's not.
Yeah.
For example, the #1 criticism about the...
I wonder why they'd have a bad understanding of what it is. I wonder who could have spread such misinformation very authoritatively.
The initiative that we've never been able to shake is that it's unworkable because you can't expect publishers to support games forever. Yeah, we know. That's why we've never asked for that. I must have said this 100 times now. It was written on the website from day one.
Ross, these people can't read. You're expecting too much of them. Too much of them.
But this keeps coming up over and over again. See, that's the thing. As soon as you say 3 words on requiring end-of-life plans, gamers especially will jump to some conclusion, and I never know where they're going to land. Ironically, non-gamers tend to be much better at understanding the initiative, because they're not coming with a whole bag full of assumptions. A couple other criticisms are how this would violate copyright law by forcing publishers to give up their intellectual property. No, it wouldn't. Some of you may want to pause this part. Or how this won't work because of end-user license agreements.
Well, presumably it would be like an addendum to the license itself.
That's also not a problem. Or how this isn't
becoming a EU directive would just supersede any conflicting terms. Yeah.
Possible because publishers already have agreements with other companies and don't have the rights to distribute that code. We're aware of that. Yes, the initiative is still possible. Those are the ones I've seen most organically. Beyond that, there is a clear patient zero where others come from.
Yeah.
Okay, I really don't want to do this next part, but it's become a liability for the campaign for me not to. Our biggest critic by far is YouTuber and streamer Pirate Software, who goes by Thor.
The special infected.
If your only exposure to Stop Killing Games has been this video, then you've been misinformed.
Yeah,
this
true.
video is by someone who does not understand the campaign, has been trying to stop it, and has been making up what it is about. I am not saying that lightly. I will prove it in a minute.
Ross, if you're willing to do this, you should have done this way earlier. I guess he must not have been sure if he was gonna, if ripping off the Band-Aid was right, but like, I want you to know my criticism is should have done this earlier. Also, this is good for attention.
Fed the streamer $2 Superberry.
Exactly, Neko.
Do it, Ross. Please do it.
Now you might be thinking, okay, so some YouTuber got something wrong on the internet. So what? See, that was my thinking too. The problem is how incredibly influential this YouTuber has been. Remember that list of coverage on the campaign? Well, best I can tell, Thor's coverage has been bigger than literally anyone else on those lists.
Pastry Gay.
Except Asmongold. And the only video Asmongold had on this bigger than Thor's was about Thor's video. So for all practical purposes, Thor here has been the #1 voice on the campaign, and he's been lying about what it is.
Ooh.
That's a bit loaded, though. In this case, I'm using the second definition.
I was gonna... Ross, please! I was so excited that you said lie. I was so excited that you went from saying he's wrong or incorrect and went to lie. I think he's intelligent enough that you can assume he's lying. I think it's a reasonable assumption.
Lie. I have no evidence.
I think definition 1 there. No evidence. I think it is reasonable to deduce he's lying.
It's the first. This video came out right as we were building momentum. Then except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork.
Thank you, Fallen Hope.
Fallen Hyperion XX fed the streamer $2 Superberry. He should have done this the day Jason made his video. Well,
that's like... That would have been great. I would have loved that. Ross never would have done that. After the shit Pirate Software pulled when Ross tried to get in touch, then's when he should have definitely done it. When Ross tried to get in touch about it, and like Pirate Software shit on him in response, and like hit, I don't know if he hit his comment or not, but they're like shitting on him, be like, I have no interest in talking to someone like that. Whatever fucking comment he said about Ross, that's the point where it's like, okay, get fucked. That's where it's, nope.
This put me in kind of a no-win scenario too. Because if I ignored it, then a lot of people are going to get misinformed about the campaign. But if I did a response video, which is not something I wanted to do anyway, then it might look like drama farming, which could understandably turn off a lot of people from the campaign.
Numbers game, man. Numbers game, okay?
Tarballs donated £1. SKG would have been more successful if Ross ate Pirate Software's pancreas like a normal YouTuber.
True. I think he's overestimating that number of people. This might bother him as well, but I bet you there are less people who'd be turned off by the perception of drama farming than there are people who would sign it to spite Pirate Software. Now, Ross would probably think, like, that's not pure though, that's not right. They're not doing it because they understand it and want it. They're doing it out of spite. Fuck it! Get the signatures!
Because it's not about that at all. So I quickly made this video trying to clear up all misconceptions and concerns about the initiative with timestamps for everyone's questions, hoping the truth would eventually come out. I can see now that was a mistake. I should have just embraced the drama.
Yes!
To this day, I'm still getting frequent comments and emails.
After he says that, black veins start creeping up his face and his skin turns grey. His eyes turn red.
About the same falsehoods about the campaign that originated in this video. Well, now I have nothing to lose. If we don't get the signatures, then none of this matters anyway. So if this campaign is failing because of me not talking about this,
Ross with nothing
then I'll at least
to
correct
lose.
history here on the way down. I'll get this over with and go over what I think are the biggest points of Pirate Software's videos. I'm not going to go over everything because collectively Thor has made hours of video on both me and the movement. I'd be here forever. Believe me.
Wait, has he really? Ooh.
I could address smaller things too, and kind of already have. All right, let's start. Okay, point number 1. Thor does not understand what Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically, we don't want single-player games to have DRM that the developers can turn off and thus render the single-player games inactive anymore. This is what they want to change. They need to be specific that they're talking about single-player games.
Maybe he's not lying. Actually, I forgot what he said about this. I think he might actually just be stupid and wrong.
That do not need a server to support them.
No.
And as much as they want it to be about specifically games, where it is a single-player game that has always online functionality.
Oh, bro.
It would impact every live service game that exists. Instead of just targeting single-player, always online games.
No, he's lying. He's lying because this is about his shit. This is about the fucking Rivals of Aether 2 shit. Yeah, this is him pretending to not understand it. To create a problem. He's creating a problem that doesn't exist. Because his niche is, I'm the expert guy who understands things. I solve problems. So he's creating a problem that doesn't exist to solve it so that people will run through that narrative trajectory in their mind and think it's real.
No.
And then try to push for it to be solved. The problem that doesn't exist will be solved into what he wants it to be.
No, that's not what it is. Stop Killing Games includes single-player games, but nothing about it is specific to them. He completely made that up, and I have no idea where he got that impression. This is what I mean.
Yeah, he's not dumb. It's deliberate. It's lying. Ross, it's lying. He's lying.
Harder for gamers to understand this because they come with so many assumptions. It's like that saying about doctors being the worst patients. So let's clear this up. It's the first line on the website. Stop Killing Games is a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. But the movement includes all this stuff from earlier, and he was mostly talking about the initiative. Well, the short version is the initiative is about requiring publishers to have end-of-life plans for games they've sold to customers in the future. So when they shut them down, customers can continue running them without their support. The long version depends on what kind of transaction is being made.
Yeah. We read through all this in the past, but it's very obvious that it's intended for all games. And that it would leave room for going forward. And anyway, the petition he's putting forward isn't... He's not, like, writing the law they're going to enshrine in Parliament or something. It's a petition to have this addressed with suggestions on what needs addressing, which covers all these things. Yeah.
As you can see, it's not easy to explain in a soundbite. But if you notice, we don't make a distinction between single-player and multiplayer games. That's because the law doesn't either. So why make this even harder? Both the movement and the law are making distinctions on how games are sold. Also, that part he said about it affecting all live service...
And there it goes, we would attempt to require publishers to have some sort of end-of-life plan. It leaves room for it to be very reasonable. As reasonable as necessary, in fact.
It's games? Yes and no. It would affect most live service games in the future, but the initiative is not retroactive. So that's one thing Thor doesn't understand, but he also seems to think this is about converting multiplayer games to single player. Once again, he made that up, and I have no idea why he thought that.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer server-side game into a single-player video game.
Yeah, this is his thing. This is his thing. I'm the expert. I solved all these problems at Blizzard. I solved all these problems here. I solved things there. I'm going to make up a pretend problem and solve it, so you know I'm right because I solved that problem. What I'm saying is true because I provided a solution and critique of something that's false, not real. Yeah, I hate this shit.
He's rebalancing the entire experience around single player, rebuilding everything in the entire game. How are you going to do that with Final Fantasy XIV? You're just going to make all the raids soloable? Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game. That's what...
Yeah, I would have to imagine that, because no one's suggesting it.
They're asking for.
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make every single live service game playable single-player offline? No, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, Ross agrees.
Correct. No. This one is particularly baffling to me because I've heard most counter-arguments before, but until Thor, I've never heard this one. That we want the industry to convert all multiplayer games into single-player ones. I keep saying it. You never know where gamers are going to take this.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Oh, he's so...
Because it's not. Yeah. So what? He's just told everyone that he's making shit up. Yes, it doesn't. Yeah. If you put that through Google Translate, it will say, I am making stuff up. Yes, it doesn't say it. Holy fuck.
He's so close to getting it.
It is vague. And because of that, it was
broad.
He never has that light bulb moment.
This boy doesn't understand the difference between vague and broad.
Well, he is correct in that statement. It's almost as if that's not what the initiative is asking for.
Wow, this petition isn't about literally one specific game? That's pretty vague. No, vague ain't the word, brother.
But those were his streams with a smaller audience. What does he say in his big YouTube video with over 1 million views that he had time to research?
If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single-player experience, and then taking away support in the future...
now he's changed it again and is making up how it's about single-player games are advertised. What is he doing?
It needs to...
I think I know what he's doing.
To be specific about the business practice it's trying to defend.
Yeah, because it has to not be against the kind of business practice Jason wants to make money with.
Which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single-player game, but adding online-only functionality that is not necessary and doesn't add any gameplay elements. That's the problem.
No, that's not it at all.
And there are some people that'll say, well, just make it all single-player.
Like
well,
you?
I've explained that doesn't make any sense.
Vague implies a lack of precision that's needed, I would suggest. The connotation...
in the first place. If you're making it all single player, you'd have to carve off all of that, and it's developer time and money. These are two different ideologies, and that's okay to have two different ideologies. I just won't agree with it.
But those aren't the ideologies. Nothing in the initiative is asking to convert games to single player.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single player games.
Yeah, so why does he keep bringing it up? This is a total red herring.
If we don't like the idea of live service games as a whole, I get it. Don't play live service games then.
It's so obviously motivated by the shit the publisher he's involved with is putting out. Fuck me, I forgot how bad this was.
Terms.
No, he's getting a new thing wrong now.
Ross, he's not attacking you and the petition, he's defending his shit. That's why it doesn't make any sense. He's defending his shit. Once you consider that possibility, if you look at it through that lens, oh, suddenly everything he's saying makes sense.
We're not against them existing. We're against them being destroyed with no recourse for the customer. Just use logic. If we didn't like them in the first place, why would we care if they're being destroyed? He says he gets it, but he doesn't.
Let's talk about the actual bad business practices. In the case that a studio is making a live service game and they sell it to you as a product, they say that you are purchasing the game or you are buying the game, when in reality you're actually purchasing or buying a license to that game. I think that we should be fighting.
Bro, that's what you're doing with every game. He's simultaneously lying and doesn't understand any of this. I think.
About that. The initiative is not trying to call that out specifically. It's trying to say that all games need to stay in a functionable, playable state.
Yes!
Which is not calling out the language that is being used to manipulate the player. Call that out specifically.
Okay, I don't know if he's doing this intentionally. I'll be charitable and assume he's not. But this is some serious obfuscation. He's complaining that the initiative isn't focused on another topic he made up. I mean, what is that logic? Hey, the initiative doesn't address how Capcom changed the look of Dante in the Devil May Cry reboot either. That may as well be what he's saying there. I am not aware of a game on the planet with a license agreement that says you are not buying a license. Our problem
True.
is not with licenses failing to inform people. Blizzard says they can take away your purchase for no reason. That sounds pretty clear to me. Our problem is those terms are so hostile to consumers and the medium that they should be taken off the table entirely. This needs regulation. Forget video games. If you look at basic commerce for hundreds of years,
careful.
When you paid money, you either got to keep what you paid for, or if it was a service, you were told when your access ends. The vast majority of online-only games do neither of those. The games industry is trying to upend basic commerce. I think you have to...
I've also heard all this from Ross before. Almost as if he has been addressing the practices surrounding the death of games and what people are expecting.
To go back to feudalism before neither of those things are true. Why even have consumer laws if you have no rights?
If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not...
Good thing he's not doing that.
Want to run one at all, then no one's going to run them.
End of life plan, or whatever they call it in the petition. End of life plan, end of life arrangement, whatever, implies the expectation that a game will be run and then stop, and that something needs to be done when it stops, or there has to be some agreement for what happens when it stops.
Oh no! He wheeled out that line about publishers having to support the game forever. He was literally watching the video earlier where it says it won't do that in big letters. That wasn't enough. We just can't stop gamers from going there, even when we spell it out. I admit, guys, this part hurts. To see the biggest voice on this issue get it wrong again and again and again, then put that same wrong information on blast to a far bigger audience that we can reach. It hurts.
Do you think we're going to get another Pirate Software I'm being harassed video after this?
Hurts.
Do you think Pirate Software is gonna respond? I hope he does. I really, really hope Like, imagine anyone on Earth saying, like, they feel threatened by the behavior of this man, Ross. Just imagine anyone trying to do that.
He doesn't get...
This gentle, furry hyrax of a man is intimidating me.
Get it. He doesn't understand what we're asking for. Now, to be fair, it sounded
he already made a tweet and deleted it.
Like he was getting a little closer in this video. Yeah, despite being called two, it's...
fed the streamer a $5 superberry. I think Ross needs to create a new petition to build a giant slingshot to fire pirate software into the sun.
I don't think he deserves that experience. There's the possibility of that being exciting and exhilarating. I don't think he deserves that.
At least the 4th video he did on this.
You want that to stay in a functional playable state. That means the devs have to release either server binaries or somehow carve off the game to be a single-player experience now.
That's better, but he's still talking about converting the single-player right to the end.
Thank you for the gift sub. Open Father Salvo, please.
He never completely got it. So Pirate Software did not understand the initiative. Maybe still doesn't. That means the majority of his critique is about things it would not do, like kill all MMOs.
If that passes...
If that was the tagline, though, I'd get behind it. Can we just have, after this is done, can we have a kill all MMOs petition to the European Parliament?
Enjoy never playing an MMO again for the rest of your life. Take it away.
Oh, I forgot. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy.
From every other person that plays MMOs.
It really wouldn't. And I've explained why in that video, but the short...
Ross, you can call him a liar. You can call him a fucking liar, propagandist, whatever. He just, come on.
Version is companies would have to stop...
What? He said, I don't have evidence. What evidence do you want, Ross? Do you, like... Yes, we can't literally scan his brain and see that he's being intentionally dishonest. Is that the standard you need? He's fucking obviously a liar. Come on, you can say it.
Liking money for that to happen.
He doesn't believe what he's saying. He does not believe that's what this will do or what you're even trying to do.
Lots of money. But his number one criticism is that he thinks the initiative is vague.
Incredibly vague. Too vague. Very vague. Damn vague. It's vague. It's vague. That is vague. Too vague. Vaguely written. Vague. Incredibly vague. Vaguely worded. Vague. 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 This is vague.
This goes on. Well, from Thor's perspective, his logic is pretty sound for this part. But the thing about logic is it's only as good as your assumed truths.
Why are you saying it like this?
He said multiple times now that he thinks the initiative is only about single-player games. So since he's expecting the thing he made up, but that's not what the initiative is asking for, he thinks it's vague. Because for him, it is.
Yeah. The connotation that it lacks precision on the basis that he thinks it's meant to just be about single-player games. Therefore, it's vague if it doesn't specify that. That's not what's happening, though. He doesn't think it's supposed to be about single-player games. He wants his audience to think that's what it's meant to be and that you fucked up. That's what he wants people to believe. It's not what he believes. No fucking shot.
Nowhere in...
Also, if it were a bit vague, this ain't the law. This is the petition. This is the outline of what they want to be addressed, bro.
There, does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games? It is vague.
Yeah, in fact, if we look at that long definition again, let's add a subsection just for Thor. Single-player games with an online DRM check. Those would already fall under this broader category. So Thor is expecting this. Again, I don't know why, but instead he's seeing an initiative that covers all of this. That's why
What Thor is saying is... No. He's saying it's vague. What he wants is for it to be narrow when it is broad, right? He's calling it vague and saying you made a mistake so that people will push for it to be made narrow when it's actually broad on purpose. You want it to cover all games.
He calls it vague 50 times. The thought that we want what we're asking for and not the thing he made up seems to have never entered his head. The initiative is trying to stop the destruction of games. That's the whole point. It covers the types of games most in need of saving. If we only covered this tiny subsection, that would save maybe 1% or less of games that get destroyed. This would do almost nothing. I'm not saying there isn't one, but I literally can't think of a game that meets this criteria. Every game I know of with single-player content that's been destroyed has been designed to run server-side.
Assassin's Creed 2? Didn't Assassin's Creed 2 do this recently? Get shut down this way recently? Or was that a different problem?
Not locally. Older ones like that tend to have the DRM cracked, which is not an ideal solution, but that does stop game destruction. And newer ones with Denuvo or something tend to have it removed by end of life. So I say less than 1%, but this might save 0% of games. I'm not sure. The initiative is actually not that vague. Though to be fair, some people did get hung up on this part. A reasonably playable or functional state. True, that is not 100% specific.
That's vague, but in a way that benefits publishers. Because it would allow for whatever legislation is passed to have it be as, like, you know, reasonable and allow things to be adapted to what's realistic and possible. That's vagueness that benefits publishers.
There are reasons for that. You know how in law, police can stop a suspect with reasonable...
Like, would he want it to be... If you want the end of life to be specific, then it could get fucking ridiculous. The game has to be playable exactly as it would be during its maintenance, during the time it was maintained. Okay, enjoy that not happening. If you leave it open for what the solution could be, the specific solution is left open, let the experts and politicians wrangle that out when this gets addressed. I think that's the right move.
Suspicion, or a jury finds someone guilty beyond...
Have it be case by case. Or rather, or potentially even allow the publisher to choose what that is, and then have the law exist so that can be contested.
Oh, reasonable doubt?
And then judged whether it's reasonable or not. Maybe. I don't know.
That's because the number of situations you face are so varied that the law has to inject some common sense somewhere. It's the same with games. A multi-million-dollar MMO is a different animal from a budget arena shooter.
Exactly.
It won't work making highly specific laws.
Yes.
That's one half of it. The other half of it is this sentence is an olive branch to publishers.
Yeah, exactly!
I've heard complaints this...
The bit that is vague, yes, this bit is vague. Like I was saying, it's vague in a way that makes it softer on publishers. Not harder. It makes this less of an impediment to games being made because it allows the expectation for end of life to be malleable.
Isn't specific enough. Okay, but you know what the alternative to this would be? Here, I'll show you. The game must be fully functional and contain 100%...
This Ross guy's really smart. This Ross guy's real smart. You know, because he's saying what I said.
...of all features as advertised. So as a publisher, which requirement would you rather meet?
Pirate Software started a campaign called Stopped Releasing Games, which allows grifters to keep games in early access indefinitely.
More importantly, this sentence shows the EU Commission that we're acting in good faith and trying to find a balance. I think some of the people asking for this to be more specific may not realize what they're asking for. I know some won't believe this, but a hell of a lot of thought went into the wording of the initiative. I think it's almost perfect. See, the initiative isn't even a proposed bill.
Yes, exactly.
It's a negotiation.
Very important.
Our side says we want games to be functional when publishers and support.
It's basically, hey, Parliament, could you look at this? Could you take a peep at this? Here's basically the issue. Here's the kind of solution we want. They're not enshrining this in law.
So they need end-of-life plans. The industry's position is going to be against whatever we write and claim they need no regulation whatsoever. Then the EU Commission gets to decide who is more in the right here. The Citizens Initiative is the opening offer in these negotiations. Trust me, the industry worth hundreds of billions of dollars will make its position known to the EU. We don't have to make their case for them. So for this negotiation...
Yes, go in on the fucking shill aspect, Ross. Destroy him.
Simple is good. That's why we're straight and to the point for what we want. Then the industry will argue against that. Then the EU Commission might look for compromises. You don't start a negotiation with a bunch of compromises because then it will get so watered down you won't save anything. Oh, and that long definition list are actually logical extensions of the simpler language used in the initiative. It's actually kind of slick.
MVP Ausrad just sent me Pirate Software's responses that we can look at after this.
Plus, there's a character limit on these things. The EU Commission doesn't want you trying to cover 50 edge cases at this phase. All right, so Pirate Software did not understand the initiative. But point two, he also did not make it easy for the truth to get out.
Is this the real beef? Is this going to be where Ross tried to talk to him?
I had never heard of him prior to all this. But during the campaign,
I believe Ross, and he's just telling the truth here. But that's going to be taken as a burn. That's going to be taken as a burn.
Dozens of people contacting me, telling me how wise and reasonable he is, how he's really pro-consumer and represents developers, and I should really talk to him. Great, let's do it. So this was my first encounter of him.
Apparently Ross made a reply to Maldavius' tweet.
Oh shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. Now, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then.
Where's the I don't respect that line? I need the I don't respect that line.
I dropped the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my...
You haven't dropped it entirely, though. How about your vested interest in defending total non-regulation of live service games? How about you just state that if you're going to take the mask off? I think you've got like a Phantom of the Opera half mask on.
Higher ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
Oh, yeah. I can see why people like him. It's like listening to Mr. Rogers. As you can imagine, we've been less than thrilled that Thor here has become the dominant voice of the campaign, especially when he doesn't understand it. Though I did find the used car salesman part amusing, since if people could read my mind, they would understand how much I dread anything resembling sales or marketing.
Anytime Ross does a bunch of setups for burns, but it's never a burn. It's always like, that's ironic because I'm a nice person. Funny you should mention retards. Sometimes I forget where my keys are.
Or just trying to push things on people who aren't interested in them. I'm not exaggerating when I said I've hated having to run this campaign.
This is the most uneducated take I have ever seen in games.
Uneducated.
As for that one, I do have a bachelor's in criminal justice, which might explain why I'm coming at this from very different angles than he is. You know, focusing on people having rights and checking what consumer law actually says, rather than what's most convenient for
Pirate Software wants gamers in the cotton fields.
Publishers. Though I think I know where that comment is coming from because I've gotten it before. Here's what I think is happening. Online-only games have a client and a server, but a lot also have middleware that developers don't have permission to distribute to customers. or depend on microservices they have no control over, and the server software isn't even designed to run on a customer system. You can't just cut out the middleware and remove the microservices because they're integrated too deeply. That would still leave the game bricked and could take months to fix and be a lot of work. So I think some devs think we're saying all they need to do is just release the server binaries at end of life and yay, everything is solved. And that's why they think we're ignorant. Well, for some games that could work, but not ones like these. Plus, that's not what we're saying. First off, we're not even mandating the methodology because, again, doing that could run afoul of copyright law.
But also, like you said, I almost said fig tree. It's an olive branch that it allows room for the solution, the end-of-life solution, to be tailored to the kind of game.
Second,
here's an example of where it would have to be, and why that part should be vague.
This whole diagram is looking at a game that exists right now and was never designed to have an end-of-life plan.
Yep, very good point.
Those might not be salvageable.
If legislation was passed, they'd know from the start that they'd have to have some kind of reasonable end-of-life plan. Could figure that out. Depending on the project, that could be like just, the ability to fucking move around in assets in space or something. Like if it's like really impossible to have it running and functioning as a game, then that can be accounted for.
What we're saying is, let's take a game in the future. No code has been written yet. It's still just a design document. Okay, so we have the client portion as usual. Then we have the server logic. Now we'll bring in our usual middleware and microservice vendors. Nope. Stop. Now the EU says we can't just brick customer purchases like we've been doing if we want to sell our games there. So that means we can't keep making all these same deals the way we have been. Now we need to renegotiate with the vendors to allow for an end-of-life build with their software.
Yeah, but who might make games and be involved with a publisher and not want to have to deal with that?
Or redesign things to make the microservices easier to sever at end of life. And vendors probably will renegotiate. Otherwise, they'll start losing sales to everyone who wants to sell games in the EU. But say a vendor refuses anyway. Then we need to go with vendor B, who will offer EU-compliant solutions because they will be happy to take money away from their competitor, vendor A. Or maybe we need to abandon one of the microservices altogether and come up with an in-house alternative that is compatible with an end-of-life plan. And if the server can't run on consumer hardware, well, maybe now we code it in a way that's more versatile and can be compiled to run a stripped-down version with less features for the customer machine at end of life. Or hey, if that's not doable, then we scrap that, but still give customers some form of server software at end of life, because now we've planned for this, and inform them it requires specialized hardware, and they're on their own for getting it working. And these are all just suggestions.
That especially seems super reasonable. Like from the publisher developer's perspective, if they're allowed to be like, you need fucking specialized software for specialized hardware for this, if they just have to make it possible for there to be, end of life usage of the game, even if that means you'd have to get fucking servers, whatever, fucking.
The publisher would get to decide how they want to comply. Thor is not alone in developers trashing what I just said. I don't know why, but some of the nastiest insults I've received on the entire campaign have been when I try to explain this is what we're asking for. This part in particular triggers some people to no end.
This part as well makes it clear that Ross is just asking, what Ross really wants is have it at least be fucking possible in some way to interact with the shit I bought.
That video made me actually mad, like real mad, not like fake memes mad, like actually mad. Like I'm actually mad.
Upsetting people is not our goal, by the way. We actually want this transition to be as easy as possible for publishers and developers. However, we are stubbornly against proposals that won't stop commercial games being destroyed, because that's the whole point. Anyway, you heard Thor's comments for me. In light of that, I think I've been pretty diplomatic. I am just...
We're not going to have the I don't respect that part? Hang on. We've got to have... This has to be the Come on.
Trying to get this initiative passed. If that means I have to get insulted all along the way, okay. So with that in mind, I reached out to him, not expecting to change his mind.
Don't. I hate this so much. Fuck you. At the start of the video, I was going to say WPC, but then I went with he looks like a Hyrax.
But to at least clarify things, since he got so much wrong. If you're gonna hate us, at least hate us for what we're actually doing, not for things that are made up about us.
I got a message from Ross. There were many other misunderstandings in your video. It's clear that you hate the initiative, and I doubt I would change that. That
is
correct.
Clear.
I would encourage you to at least hate it for what it accurately is. I do.
He says that so confidently.
He says everything confidently. It's his fucking grift. I know everything. And then once he has people believing that, he can take advantage of people's faith in him to lie, like you've seen him do. Right? I'm the problem solver. I know how things work. I can solve things. Oh, look, this has a problem. Let me pull it out of my ass. It's not really there. Here's a solution. See, I'm right. It needs to be this.
You knocked it out of the park. You understood everything.
In other words, the customer is told explicitly that their access ends at the time of payment. Most live service games do not do this, which could run afoul of EU law. Most is patently incorrect.
No.
Patently incorrect? Okay, for those who don't know much about live service games, that's...
I've never had a live service game tell me when service will end. They, like, inform you right when it's gonna, or like a month before. They don't tell you a purchase. Because how the fuck would they?
It's like saying the Earth isn't round. He says verifiably false things so confidently. If his viewers don't know any better, how can I blame anyone for believing what he says about the initiative when he talks like that? It's incredible. And he does not wish to discuss this with me, or anyone else in the initiative. Why not?
Would you consider reaching out and talking to Ross about it? No. And the reason why is because I found his entire statement over the YouTube incredibly disingenuous.
Yes, this issue which has bothered me since I was a...
Ross is not being disingenuous. Pirate Software is being disingenuous in the most literal way. He's pretending not to understand things.
A teenager, and I've spent 10 years on trying to push back against, is me being disingenuous. Where is this coming from? Well, it comes from a slide I had in my promotional video, the half-joke slide. He hated this, and I think he may have a rather privileged view of politics.
You want to put together legislation because it's the right thing to do.
We did!
Yeah, not because you can convince legal representatives to do it no matter what.
Absolute disingenuousness. Pirate Software, do you genuinely think he went, what's something I could pass? I just want to get something passed. Anything. Come on, man.
It's both. These are not mutually exclusive things.
The idea that we're going to go through this because it's an easy win, but not the right win?
Reasons it could pass, politicians like easy wins. That's a description of what could happen.
No, dude.
Not a reason to do it. That's an explanation of why it's worth doing, not why it should be done, to begin with.
God.
Fuck me.
So he
There's no way he's too dumb to understand that.
Misunderstood the initiative and misunderstood our intentions. And in his words, this is why he refuses to have a dialogue with the movement. So now I have to address it. Let's keep it basic. He calls me disingenuous, implying I don't believe what I'm pushing for, that this is some sort of con. That's uncharitable to the point of being silly. Besides video evidence going back 10 years, this is not a hard concept to grasp. I hate seeing creative works needlessly destroyed when people are trying to save them. And video games are where I see that happen the most. Of course I believe in what I'm...
Randomly generated username fed the streamer a €2 superberry. Why is Ross bullying this disabled man?
He's not doing anything to me. What do you mean? Thanks for the €2.
Advocating for. Maybe start from there. I'm a little surprised.
Do you think Ross would win if he posted AI pregnancy videos with him and Pirate Software? Maybe. We can test that ourselves.
That didn't sink in.
The idea of getting it to pass with an easy win instead of pass because it's good.
With an easy win? Wait. He thinks things pass because they're good? Yeah, he is fucking...
Absolute problem.
That's not how politics...
You get laws to pass... You get legislation written up and agreed on and passed just because it's good.
Work.
All right.
Do you think things pass because they're good ideas?
Ross, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You have to have a good idea and then fight for it.
Tell that to people who still have lead in their water. A lot of gamers are...
Pirate Software defends Flint, Michigan's water supply. Let's go.
With good cause. The industry has been shaking them down every which way. The perception that it's hopeless to protect our rights against billion-dollar conglomerates is off.
Hey, if something doesn't get that to stop, then it just must not have been good because things get done because they're good, right? Right?
Correct. If I told people this would pass just because it's a good idea, I wouldn't believe me. This slide is a half joke, but it's also some totally cynical reasons that are often true to let people know we have a chance and this isn't utterly hopeless. Do you think I or most people in the movement give a damn why politicians might pass something good? What we care about is that they pass something good. We don't need them to be true believers. We need them to pass good law. This is as soft as it possibly gets in politics. I think most politicians would find this slide funny.
Pirate Software be like, if the politicians aren't avid gamers, you cannot pass any law related to entertainment media.
It's not
because the politicians don't believe in it, and thereby it can't pass just on the back of it being good. You have to take advantage of them in some way.
Sounds like he's offended I have a low opinion of the political process. Well, I'm the one in the trenches here. I'm not sure if he's upset at me or just upset at reality. Yeah, I am too. Anyway, he went on to delete my reply to him. Thankfully, someone backed it up, and I figured, okay, he hates this. It was thrust upon him by his viewers. I'll just leave him be. Well, that was a mistake on my part, because then he went on to make more videos about...
This is... Okay, try and reach out to him first. Chance for him to change his mind and potentially help you promote your stuff. Of course, the real reason Jason had to be like, I'm not talking to this guy, I'll never talk to this guy, is because for personal reasons, he wants this to fail and needs this to fail. That's why he wouldn't risk platforming Accursed Farms. That's the real reason he needed an excuse.
Me in the movement, now reaching over 1 million views, still broadcasting the...
And this is absolutely the point where you gape him. This is where you gape him.
Wrong information on us. I guess I'm being petty here, but this is alien thinking to me. Why would you call someone out, then run away from a conversation with them when they say there's a misunderstanding, but then go on to make more videos calling them out? Sir, that is not gentlemanly behavior. Alright, I know this is going on too long, so I'll get to the final point. Thor misunderstood the initiative, misunderstood our intentions, and misinformed a lot of people about both. But the irony...
Yeah, but even that charitable read is fucked because it's not a law. The petition itself is not a law. It was constrained by even a word count.
I think he would have hated it even more if he did understand it. Because first, he doesn't see any of this as a problem.
Gaming isn't in need of saving. No, it's not a form of planned obsolescence. It's called the game no longer being profitable and we turned it off. No.
Oh. Because hypothetically a game could be profitable forever, it means they don't have any plans to eventually just cut it off. Come on. Come on.
No games are being destroyed here. These are live service games.
Yeah, you heard him. No games are being destroyed. Does he just say anything? Is that why he's popular? More to the point, and what I wish he included in his main video, is he supports games being destroyed.
A very strange demand from people in the gaming industry.
Oh god, this is the bit where he's like, MMOs are the people in them, right? Then fucking pay me for playing it.
Where live service games should live forever. Whether in the hands of the developer or otherwise. And I can't get behind that shit. I think live service games getting sunsetted is fine. I've always thought that. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
He just makes assertions. Because the persona he's crafted is for people who like a dick coming out of their screen and fucking them in the ass. People like hearing that and being like, yes, he's smart. This is correct. I think having these assertions said to his viewers feels good to them on some level.
I have no problems with the end of a video game.
Fig's mother should have visited Planned Parenthood.
Probably, yeah. They offer a lot of services.
I wish he started his big YouTube video with that message instead of deleting it. Instead, he presented himself as pro-preservation and not wanting the medium to die out.
It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games and that the next generation has the tools to do so that our medium doesn't die out. And it never will. And that's the whole intention of all of this.
So he doesn't want games to die out, except he's fine with that.
He wants it to be like some Nurgle shit, decay his life. He wants some game to exist. He doesn't care about game preservation. Would be my understanding.
There's some cognitive dissonance going on there.
No, not necessarily, Ross. Not here.
And he's against killing single-player games that only have a DRM check.
Pirate Software was making the very bold statement of games in some form should exist in the future.
Okay. But then says people who buy single-player games with more than a DRM check are stupid, and he doesn't play those.
I don't buy games that are always online single-player games. I refuse to play those because it's stupid.
That's some tough talk coming from a fan of Diablo 4.
It's actually...
Ross, that's too savage. You've got... Fucking retard software.
Really freaking good, dude. The game's fantastic. Itemization is great. Systems design is great.
His defense is going to be it's multiplayer. Look, Diablo 4 is technically multiplayer, okay? But
design has been fantastic. The characters are good. The voice acting is great.
In practice, it's a fucking single-player game. Come on.
So is he saying he wouldn't have played Diablo 4's single-player campaign if it didn't have forced multiplayer also? Even though he's praising it and
Fair. I'm glad he addressed that.
appears to be playing solo? Or is he saying that people that just wanted to play Diablo 4 single-player are stupid? I admit I got lost on his stance there, but what's more clear to me is we're not on the same side. Here's a list of some popular games that are all at risk of being destroyed at some time in the future. The Stop Killing Games movement sees any of these being
That's dirty Ross. Putting his name next to the statement that Destiny 2 is fine.
Destroyed as a problem. And they're exactly the kinds of games that would start being protected if the initiative passed. Now, a lot of these do have single-player campaigns,
76.
but I believe they all require more than a simple DRM check. He says over and over that his problem with the initiative is the wording, and it's vague. But there is no wording he would like that also saves games like these, because he's on the opposite side of this. If he's totally...
Look, he's not... Oh my god. Pirate Software is concern trolling. Actual example of concern trolling. Actual example. He's concern trolling. Actually, for real. That's what this is. Finally, an example in the wild. But Pirate Software going, hey, you got to get 1 million signatures, but what you have to do is you need to get 1 million signatures 100 times, and in each petition just cover one permutation of the issue.
Really fine with games like these being disabled forever. Well, guess what? That's the position of the industry causing this entire problem in the first place. And that's the final point. Thor says...
What is concern trolling? Where you pretend you're just pointing out a problem. Like, hey, no, this is too vague. This is too vague. You know, what you really need to do is target this, blah, blah, blah. When what you're really doing is just trying to bog it down and undermine it.
He disagrees with how we're going about trying to end game destruction, but he also disagrees with the goal itself. No, wait, I want to be fair. He's only against 99% of it minus that tiny provision he made up. So once you understand that, then of course it makes sense that he's against the Stop Killing Games movement. Because we're trying to stop killing games. Now, if you're in Thor's camp and think killing all these games is fun...
Kill the gamer, not the game.
...fine, and or as things should be...
To be fair, you could convince me on a lot of these games.
Okay, then it's just a values clash. And yeah, you'll hate the initiative too. I'm not trying to tell you otherwise. But if you think you might have been misled about what the initiative is...
What the hell is Steep?
Hey,
is that some sort of tea brewing simulator?
Hey, maybe look at it again. Tell others about it. Help undo some of the damage. There is still time. It closes July 31st. Thor lying about what the campaign is about, remember, second definition, has caused more damage to it than anything else I'm aware of. Now, I've heard some people say, no, it caused a Streisand effect and led to more coverage. Well, if you look at the signature rate, it suggests the opposite. I've also been told a big streamer, like in that group I mentioned earlier, you know, the kind that are so big they could end this, avoided talking about Stop Killing Games because of Thor's take on it.
Evidence?
Remember, at the time he did this, Pirate Software was a well-respected developer, looked up to...
Was! The roughest thing, the best thing, like the most brutal singular word in this entire video was.
By the internet community for having good takes on gaming. And I was, and still am, the weirdo with no credentials other than not wanting games destroyed. So with Thor being seen as the smartest guy in the room and firmly against the initiative, I think that led some internet figures to not want to touch this, lest they be seen like a fool in the eyes of Thor. Now, as I understand it, that risk may have lowered since then, but it doesn't...
I cannot be seen as a fool in the eyes of Thor.
It doesn't really matter if nobody else...
I will be denied the hammer.
...talks about it, because he was there to kill the momentum when we needed it the most, and we never got it back. Okay, that's it on him. I did not enjoy having to do that segment, but I've had to do a lot of things on this campaign I don't like. Believe it or not, my goal was...
Well, Thor's the, like, fucking threaten you with connections guy. Watch out. You may turn against me now, but it is you who will suffer. I mean, he didn't say that, but he did the whole, you know. If you engage in drama, you're going to find out you lose opportunities. Yeah. Fuck off.
Not to tarnish Thor's reputation, that's incidental. I don't care. He can be hailed as a national hero. Whatever. The goal was to expose the damage done to the campaign to try and fix it. I do think he's someone who would have defended the divine right of kings hundreds of years ago, but I don't wish him ill will. On the contrary, I hope he finds some peace of mind. Now you might be thinking, is this campaign...
I don't want to tarnish the reputation of Jason Prima Nocta Hall, or whatever his fucking name is.
Really so fragile that one big streamer can sink it just by misrepresenting it? Oh, yeah, it totally is. It's been an uphill battle almost every step of the way. It sinks or swims to the whims of what big streamers do. It kind of reminds me of the Greek gods. That part about easy wins, that's for the politicians, not us.
The whatevers are like gods. God, what was it from that shit-ass misinformation game? Dustborn. The somethings are like gods. The Puritans are like gods.
Ours are hard as nails. There are reasons it took me 9 years before I was ever able to actually do anything on this. It's a miracle it's gotten as far as it has. Now, I've seen people ask, if the initiative fails, then...
Developed implies he finished the game. Or it could imply that he's abandoned it at this point.
What's next? I've tried to explain this before. There is no next. What's next was 1.5 years ago with all those other things we've tried. We're at the final phase now. The European Citizens Initiative is our last possible chance to change anything. See, there are things governments and consumer groups are doing, and then there are things that us, the general public, are doing. After July, I see nothing left for us.
So there's nothing left for us in Detroit.
I mean, Stop Killing Games has failed?
Yes.
Well, no. Nobody knows yet. We won't know the answer to that for a long time, maybe years. Government moves slowly. The initiative will be what's failed, not everything else. Without the initiative, we still have about 5 other chances for this to work. We have the consumer agencies in France, Germany, and Australia, and possibly help from the BEUC and the UFC Que Choisir, though those are iffier. But
I'm pretty sure that's a kind of weed you can buy from a bougie dispensary.
All their work is underway. It's out of our hands now. Now, I've heard some say, what if
the Kush Wazir?
If we launch the initiative again? Well, someone else can try that, not me. I tried my absolute damnedest writing off the publicity of the cruise shutdown and barely got halfway. It took a chunk out of my life with almost nothing to show for it. No way am I going to spearhead something like this again. I saw this as my only shot. I took it to the best of my ability. That wasn't good enough. I have no reason to think that doing it again will be successful. On the contrary, I think it would do far worse.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean I'm being defeated.
Probably.
I will continue saying yes to almost any opportunity that emerges until July 31st. I have some skepticism, but I am still available for Stop Killing Games until then. Though remember, you don't have to go through me at all. You just have to send people to the initiative. After that, no, I'm done. In fact, I think some people might be surprised just how done I am after July.
Ross, don't do it. Ross, what do you mean? He's getting the hyraxification surgery, man. He's gonna star in those viral TikToks where the little hyrax just goes. He's got the teeth for it.
It's not that I will have changed my mind on game destruction. It's just that there's nothing left after that. So I don't want to waste even more of my life on this. I've paid my dues.
Hang on. Just give me 1 second. Just one moment. Mm-hmm. Right. The surgery is booked. The hyraxification surgery is booked.
My income's dropped significantly since I started this because I haven't had time to make more fun videos which people would rather watch. And I don't blame them one bit. So besides being sick of running this thing, I have to make up for lost time so I can pay rent.
If I can't institute an end-of-life plan for games, I have to do it for myself.
Plus, believe it or not, I want time to actually play games and not just fight to keep them all the time. I'll still do the bare minimum if it helps. For example, Germany's consumer agency contacted me at one point because they wanted more information on the cruise EULA for their investigation. So I assisted with that. That was surprising because I have no authority on that at all, and I would have thought they would have had better sources than me, but yeah, I can do pilot light activity like that if it really helps. Just no more campaigning. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against people doing more after July. I just think your odds will be horrendous, and I don't want to dump my time into doomed causes. If the law on game destruction in the EU and Australia was as locked down as it is in the United States, I never would have even started this campaign. Now, I've said this initiative resulted in almost nothing. Well, we did get a little bit. For me personally, I got the feeling of knowing I did everything I could, so I won't have any more nagging doubts like, oh, if only I had tried harder, I could have saved video games. No. I can close
now I get to live knowing video games are doomed.
Close the book on that. So I'll be able to look at myself in the mirror after this. That's a plus for me and anyone else who tried their best. About the only other thing I think the initiative accomplished was we inadvertently saved 2 games. This is hearsay again, but according to an insider at the company, Ubisoft announced offline modes for The Crew 2 and Motorfest because they were afraid the European Citizens Initiative would pass and thought this might kill some of the momentum. Ironically, I don't think they needed to have bothered. We were already losing momentum when they announced that because, well, you know why. But not killing games is the whole point of this, and I guarantee you Ubisoft had no end-of-life plans for those games prior to this movement. They were absolutely slated to die. Now, if I could have picked any 2 online games to save, I can't say those would have been my choices.
What would you go for?
But that is something tangible that the initiative changed.
What would your picks be?
Assuming Ubisoft isn't lying.
Okay.
At the time of this video, they still haven't delivered on it yet. So is that it? Is that all the initiative accomplished?
Holy fuck, yes, Agent Earth. Sun Grand Studios, after this fails, Sun Grand should pick up the torch. Holy fuck, it would be so good.
Well, without the signatures, sadly, yes, I think so. Now, some people might say, no, we did more than that. We shifted the narrative. So what? My only goal with this was to stop games from being destroyed. All the talk in the world won't fix that without action. Without the initiative, any victory we get is going to come from one of these 5 paths we opened up. Speaking of which, what should we expect from that? I honestly don't know. I give all of these coin toss odds. I do think it is highly, highly likely Ubisoft is going to get fined for something by more than one agency. Don't take my word for it. German channel WBS Legal thinks the same. The problem in their eyes is that Ubisoft shut down The Crew with only 3 months' notice, and they should have provided more like 2 years. Yeah, hear me now, quote me later. If all that comes from Stop Killing Games is companies in the EU need to give 2 years' notice before they shut down a game, then I will consider it an abject failure. It won't save games. That wasn't our goal. It'll piss off companies. Everybody loses. But that's the risk of making this work under existing law rather than proposing sensible law under the initiative. Fingers crossed the agencies make a better decision than that. Now, since this is a wrap-up video and I don't know what the outcome will be, I might as well present both scenarios.
Yo, multiple
choice.
choice.
If we win and have a clear victory through one of these avenues,
Death to Ubisoft. Death to Ubisoft.
If I think I have threats and hate mail now, I bet I haven't seen anything yet. I'd like to say whatever happens because of these avenues, we didn't write them and never had any authority here. All we could do was report the problem. The European Citizens Initiative is what was written by the movement, and that's
It's like I just beat a Fallout game. It's like I went into the files of Fallout and I'm just playing all the ending slides.
Failing. Now, for people who want my head over this, I doubt they'll care, but I wanted to point that out. I'll say right now, the
Pirate Software ran an 8-hour stream gloating about how he could rip his games right out of your hands at any moment he wants, and you failed to take your only chance to stop him.
Competition could be bumpy. It all depends on how hard the industry fights it. And yes, it's possible it could end some games on death row prematurely. So games that were designed to die could still die, but after that, almost all games would start being protected. Because I know there's some clown that's going to find one example of a game shutting down early and then use that as proof that enforcing the law is bad, even though the industry was going to kill it anyway. That's the logic I'm expecting. So there could be bumps, but give it 3 to 5 years and it will smooth out, become an industry standard, and then you'll have people who were against it claiming they were for it all along. Hey, remember how there were people speaking out against letting customers refund games before 2014? And they're kind of quiet now?
No.
I do.
There are a lot of people noisy about that, actually.
I think it'll be a lot.
Not as many, sure, fine, kind of quiet, but there are some people still noisy.
Like that. So that's if we win. If we lose, in other words, all 5 of these avenues get shot down.
No, my 15-minute slopware, my 15-minute gay slopware on Steam. People can play it and then refund it.
Well, then things are going to be almost exactly like they are right now. Except then there will be no pretending we have consumer rights. If you're a gamer, it will be codified into law that you're a consumer chattel who doesn't deserve to keep what you...
If you are a gamer, leave the EU immediately. It's not safe anymore.
Buy. Or if you're renting, informed of how long you get to rent. So, cool. The games industry brought back one of feudalism's greatest hits. Now, even that reality I consider preferable to what's going on now, because then we at least know we're legally screwed.
All gamers will be stripped of citizenship.
Besides the obvious, what drove me crazy about this issue, and the reason I started this campaign, was because in many countries, no laws were ever passed on this. Nobody voted on this. Companies just started taking away your purchases. Nobody stopped them, and it slowly got normalized. It's felt like a coup. So the idea that hundreds of games were being destroyed just because we're letting it happen drove me up the wall. If we're screwed, let's be told that to our faces and not have contradicting laws pretending we have rights. Yeah, that's the one thing I can promise this campaign will deliver, which is answers. There will be no more frog boiling after this.
No! I wasn't informed of this.
Frog hops out of the pot.
I love classic Cajun frog boils.
Or it's dead. Now, even if we lose 100%, it's not like
I'm not going to say it. I always say the thing about the boiling the frog metaphor. I'm not going to say it today.
Change my mind on thinking destroying creative works when people want to save them is wrong. I'll probably drift even farther towards trying to save game worlds, at least. I made a video about this sort of thing. I'm optimistic about technology assisting with being able to extract environments from games and port them in the future. So hopefully...
Hold on. That's cool. Yo. It's only a matter of time until an AI can just fucking clone a game. Piracy by just showing an AI a live stream of a game. Let's go.
We can salvage more from the ashes that are getting burned down in games. So that's stop killing games. If you're depending on me to save the initiative, then I think it's going to fail. Skill issue, as they say. My only closing thoughts on this is that this is all just so stupid. It's stupid that we didn't have clear laws on this to begin with, that this practice continued for decades without clear laws on it, that it was going to continue without our intervention, that it takes so much work and so many people...
Yeah, but you can... Zara, it's just one of those things, man. You can't... I was infected with it, and so I infect others. It's a zombie virus.
People to even report a violation, that me, a chump YouTuber, was the one spearheading this, that it was easily derailed by a bigger YouTuber, convincing gamers that having their games destroyed is a good thing. It's all so stupid. I've heard some people say before that we're on the worst timeline. No, things could be so much worse. I think some people have no idea.
Tim interview Ross. So, Mr. Farms. Hypothetically, if you were put into a self-defense scenario with Jason Thor Hall, how would you defend yourself? What actions would you take?
But if you were to say we're on the dumbest timeline, I don't know if I could argue against that. See ya.
Bye. That was a really good ending face.
I don't know if I could argue against that. See ya.
Looking very Limbo of the Lost. Very Limbo of the Lost. But like the lips in particular, he's Briggsing out. Hang on. I need that. Oh, I don't need to look it up. Hang on. I have a picture right here. It's a bit dusty. Been in the corner for a while. Why do I have that? Someone sent it to me. I think for a birthday or something, or for Christmas. Okay. We've got a couple nuggets from Ausred. Pirate Software today on stream responding to the new video. Let's see what he had to say. Ah. The fuck was that? I guess I clicked the edge. Hang on, let me close that. And I'll open a new tab. Motherfucker. Reddit has poisoned my browser. Okay, we're good. We're back to Briggs. No, it's still all frozen. Motherfucker. Death to Reddit! Death to Reddit! Let me force close it. He tweeted a reply and deleted it. He also made a response on stream. Hold up. Now someone's brapping outside.
Yeah, Hutcher, I did. I think it's really hilarious to me that that entire community is so butt mad at me for putting out a video 10 months ago about their stuff and then not being refuted, and now it's my fault that everything is going wrong for them.
It's your fault because you didn't stop me from lying. So his position is it's your fault because you didn't stop me from lying. Okay.
Okay. Very cool.
We don't get a lot of visitors out here.
So it's, you know what? Fair deal. It's your fault what everyone thinks about you for not addressing it sooner. All your fault entirely, not the fault of anyone else speaking about you then, right? Because people were saying stuff about you for a long time. You took a long time to address it in a video. Your fault.
I'm Juno as
no, I need
deal.
to get words off of this.
Also, as is being noted in chat, Ross was saying this guy covered it for hours more than that video.
Which community? Stop killing games, guys. I specifically have not talked about their initiative for an entire 10-month period because people in their Reddit were trying to say that they wanted to bring it up here and try to get me to bait to talk about it. Like, bait me into talking about it because it gave the most amount of...
They were trying to bait me into mentioning something.
Upvotes, the most amount of, signups for their initiative that they'd ever gotten. So
there
I put out that video saying, I don't like this. These are the reasons I don't like it.
Wait. So you admit, as part of your media strategy, you were trying to avoid giving it attention. I think it's fucking... Hang on. What information do we have that we can combine and get a deduction out of? You dodged talking to Ross, dodged allowing him to even be under your video. Reason being, whatever. He's disingenuous, whatever. So the real reason was you were scared of platforming him because it could lead to signatures. Right?
And then I stopped talking about it entirely for 10 months, and now it's my fault that their initiative died, apparently. But hey.
No. Not purely. It's not your fault it failed, necessarily. It's your fault that it didn't have a chance. It's your fault, really, that it had no chance. I would put it more like that. There was always a strong chance it could fail. Probably more likely to fail than succeed. Could have failed anyway. You slashed its odds heavily. And you didn't slash its odds fairly. You were very clearly trying to deceive people. You'd be a fucking sucker to think otherwise, and you stomped on it.
That's fine. You also didn't want to talk to Ross? I didn't.
Like, if he'd killed it and not pulled some dodgy bullshit, fair enough. He was clearly trying to kill it by dishonest means.
Like the way that he was approaching the situation, I was very clear about that. That was not a bannable offense, Wolf. That was a person being totally normal in their conversation. Let me fix this. There you go. Just talking about this is not a problem. People coming in and...
Fallen Hyperion XX
Fallen Hyperion,
from
thank
streamer
you.
$2 Superberry. He didn't learn his ED thing from talking to Dr. K.
Of course not. He's not able to learn.
Flinging insults or being an asshole is the problem. Yeah. It's your fault when you're the one in power. We're both content creators. We both have a platform.
In power, come
and
on.
I chose to talk about this from a game developer perspective and say, I don't like this for these reasons.
Getting closer to honesty from a game developer perspective. Okay. Think you need to Think you need to get a bit closer. Sidle up to the truth a bit closer, buddy. Ooh. How about as someone representing the interests of game developers? Here it sounds like you're talking about having expertise. That's not the way in which you were talking from that perspective, though, was it?
Joe Lohengram fed the stream.
Yeah, we saw that. We saw that.
Fig literally said he was going to advise people against supporting the initiative.
Indeed. Cats? I would say when he said Pyro Software was a respected game developer known for giving good takes, when he said was, that's a straight insult, okay?
His community went on the offensive and tried to do underhanded tactics, and his response to it was also not stellar. Not a fan of it. So because of that, I didn't want to have a conversation with him. I said,
wait, what were the underhanded tactics?
Take it or leave it. That's it. Welcome to a clash on the internet. Like, that's how that works. If you're a dick, I'm not going to talk to you.
Bro. What the fuck did Ross ever do to you?
Because I don't have to.
You don't have to fucking delete his comment either. You don't have to tell the truth. You should, though.
Yeah, exactly. How dare you not let yourself be used by us? Ridiculous shit.
There's the fantasy. This is such a flipping of reality. The problem with Ross is that he didn't exploit drama. My biggest critique of Ross is that he didn't do that to benefit the cause. He like pathologically is averse to doing that, to using someone like that. What the fuck?
Dude, probably a lot of them, Spagooter. You can't take blame for having an opinion? I stated my opinion. Full-chested on the videos, never took them down.
You also stated falsehoods.
They're both at 70% positive and more.
You're so raped. You're fucking hell.
Like, I got nothing to hide on that shit. And I still stand by it. I'm not going to change that. I
have a bunch of thumbs ups. I have a bunch of thumbs ups.
No reason to.
Fucking, I say who gives a fuck, a lot of people care. Just be advised that you're broken.
Why would I want to change that? Yeah.
That is a fucking sickening. A lot of people clicked thumbs up on my video. How about I'm right? How about I think it was right? People agree with me. If they didn't, would you change? You fucking spineless cunt. Sorry, just...
You're not going to stand for this? You're going to sit down and keep watching? That's funny. Is this House Spinette here? I think it is. That's very funny.
We got any more? Is this person done filming it, or it's skipping in the VOD or what? Okay.
The internet would be a much nicer place if people refused to speak to people who bait them. That's why I don't talk about it. Like, literally, I was like, all right, I'm not going to talk about it, but I'm talking about it today to give you guys context, because it's been 10 months, and most of the community doesn't remember this shit, which is hilarious. Which makes it even funnier.
Do you have business with me or House Spinette?
And then after today, I'll go back to not talking about it, banning anyone who tries to bait for it. Normal shit.
House Housepinet repays every action in kind and in proportion.
Yo, streamers are just fucking scum. Did you know? Were you guys aware of this? Oh. Here's Pirate Software's now removed. Fuck off. Why is Reddit so shit? It tries to throw you to the front page and then crashes your browser. Fuck me. Let me download the image. Hang on. Bump. I don't want a fucking WebP file. No. Give me something good. I'll put the picture into my browser, and we can simply look at the image together peacefully. Dun dun dun. Motherfucker. Cocksucker. Supper Cursed Farms. Supper Cursed Farms. I put out 2 videos disagreeing with your initiative 10 months ago and haven't talked about it since. Now your initiative has failed and you're... Not yet, okay? And you're blaming me for 33 minutes of the hour-long video covering it. He explains that he's addressing what he should have previously addressed. He's making up for having not done it. When he realized he should have. He's saying... He's explicitly explains he's avoiding what you've been accusing him of doing, and now he does it. Like you complain that he's too late in doing the thing you were pretending he was doing before, baiting you or whatever. Come on, this is delulu, I believe is the term that chav ladies use. Your community is out in force shitting up our streams and socials with hate messages. They're calling you slurs? Based. Threats and snide comments. Since you're so set on cutting up my responses into pieces to try and make me seem unhinged, no, you do in full context. You look like a moron or a liar. More like a liar to me. Lebo. Pirate Software. You scared of Ross? Get off the internet. Get off the internet. If Ross is too much for you, get off the internet. Softest man, softest community in existence. Since you're so set on cutting up my responses into pieces to try to make me seem unhinged, you mean cutting the sections where you said unhinged bullshit? Yeah? No context changes it. I'm going to drop my videos here to show the actual context. There's also a massive pinned FAQ on the first video you can read through to see my reasoning. To quote back at you, if you're gonna hate me, at least hate me for what I'm actually saying. Yes, the quotes he provided. Yeah, the quotes he provided, yes. That is what you are hated for. Stating that it is something it's not. When you say, the petition is about this, the petition is supposed to be about this, that's you making shit up. Unless the context is, I'm going to say something that's not true, and then you said it. The only engagement I've seen that is level-headed has been from Lewis Rossman. His video breaks down what I disliked and tried to meet in the middle with a conversation that made sense. As such, I engaged with him on that video as screenshotted below. I'm fine talking to people that are level-headed about this and can have a conversation, but to be real, dude, every time you've been involved, your orbiters turn shit toxic instantly, and it sets me off. Your community is fucking rabid, and it's shit to deal with for anyone on the other side of the argument. It's so hard not to say a word beginning with F. I'm going to say it. Ross is my friend. Anyway. The Accursed Farms. The Accursed Farms community is too hardcore for me. I can't handle it. Shut the fuck up. Your community is fucking rabid and it's shit to deal with for anyone on the other side of the argument. Why do you think... Imagine what would have happened if instead of, like, saying whatever the fuck you said about him when he commented and deleting it, you engaged with him. If you were worried, if you wanted his community to cool down, you could have done that. Instead, you poured fuel on the fire, didn't you? Why do you think I haven't talked about this shit in 10 months? You would have been talking about this for 10 months if not for his community? That's bullshit. That's not real. That's fantasy. What would his coverage have been like? What would he have said? Would he have just continued to say, don't support this, don't support this? What would your further coverage have been? Why do you think we auto-mute anyone bringing it up in chat? Because it's been rage bait and shitfling the entire time. Your own Reddit had people openly talking about causing drama in our community to try and stir up more support. I still disagree with your movement for all the reasons I stated. Oh, the fantasies. Okay. That's unlikely to change, and at this point, I'm more than fine with that. Stay frosty. He deleted this tweet. That's just a lie. The part where he says, why do you think I haven't talked about this in 10 months because I'm being harassed. Why would you have talked about it? Give me 5 examples of times you would have talked about it but didn't. Or that's a lie. Ross didn't include the clip where he said, I have no respect, did he? He included the commentary on the easy win, but not the specific part where he said, I have no respect for that. Parra, you were talking shit. You were talking shit about him. On a level that has implications for his personal character. Come on. Like, fucking come the fuck on. Oh, Aushrad, sorry. Thank you for sending me the pictures directly. I would have ripped them from here if I'd known, but I went and downloaded it myself. So... He just pirate software on Twitter. I wonder if he's done anything else, said anything else. Charlussi made a video. Let's skim over it real quick just to see. Just to see. True, used car salesman vibes. "1 hour ago, stop killing games." Ooh.
You know what this is right here, pal? Huh, tough guy? You feeling lucky? Yeah, that's right. Spirit fingers. Do you know why? Because it's been about 30 hours since I last slept, and I've done 3 different intros.
Motherfucker. Hang on. I'm an imbecile. Just so you know. I broke my Firefox capture. I deleted my Firefox capture. I thought I was closing a media capture for the picture, But I had the picture open in Firefox, so I had to make a new one. It's okay. So one of the aforementioned streamers who could end this thing, I imagine this was Ross's dream, right? This presumably was Ross's dream. It's come true. You're clipping? You can clip. Why wouldn't you be allowed to clip?
You know what this is right here, pal? Huh, tough guy?
I'll switch to Brave on my midweek weekend, okay?
You feeling lucky? Yeah, that's right. Spirit Fingers. Do you know why? Because it's been about 30 hours since I last slept, and I've done 3 different intros, all of which...
Unfortunately, Charlie has a 0.001% EU audience. What was it on? Oh, fuck. What was it on? An hour ago. By the way, some fucking Peruvian tried to log into my Steam account this morning. They had my username and password. Luckily, I used 2-factor on everything. But I changed it. I changed my password. Someone from Peru had my username and password, and I got like here's the code to get in.
Crash and burned, and I am off my gourd, so now I'm going wacko mode. But even in my sleep-deprived state, I am still lucid enough to recognize how cattywampus the AAA gaming space has become. Like, the gaming industry has so many things that I have bitched and moaned about. Probably the biggest practice that I've been most vocal about, not exactly shy on, is the topic of you will...
He seems even more tired than I am.
Own nothing and be happy. The Ubisoft motto, God rest...
Oh, he's energizing the alt-right.
That company's soul. What a pile of dog shit. But it's not just Ubisoft. That has become a prevalent business strategy across the gaming industry. You will own nothing. You will be happy. You're basically... You come away with the idea of ownership of whatever game
you have to speed.
I've worn this topic out more than a fleshlight in a frat house, but it is something I am very passionate about. The gaming industry is getting away with more and more garbage where they'll take a shit in your mouth and you're expected to thank them for adding some flavor to your taste buds. It's terrible. And there is an initiative that has been aiming to fight back against a lot of these practices that I think really need some big overhaul. And it's an initiative that I think is going through all of the right channels. And now today I watched a video from the guy that...
He put this out 1 hour ago, Zara.
Spearheading this, his name is Ross. He posted a video called The End of Stop Killing Games where he's
so Hyrax-pilled, it's unbelievable.
Giving an update on where everything's at and how it's kind of at the finish line here with a lot of failure to show for it.
Old enough to pee, old enough for HRT. We need to keep him bound up in gaming legislation. Okay?
A few other chances to fight back. Now, before getting into the weeds on the topic, I want to get this in the beginning because I imagine the vast majority of people won't watch the whole thing. I'm putting a link to the full video on Stop Killing Games as well as a link to where you'd go to help support the Stop Killing Games initiative.
Very good
because there's only a little bit of time left for the most important parts of it now that it's at the end.
You know what? Hold up. Hold up. Here we go.
I want to quickly jump to a different spot in this video because I think it's important to have this in the beginning because it's something a lot of people have heard. That
I don't know if I signed it. I don't think I did. I can't remember. Do you just have to... Well, I'm in the UK. I'm in the UK and I'm an American, so I don't think I did sign it, no.
It comes from someone that is just wrong about it. It's the pirate software portion. Ross is addressing the video Pirate Software made many months ago. Ross even says that he didn't plan on doing that because he didn't want to be seen as using this for drama farming because it would start to make the movement look less of like a legitimate initiative and more of just like drama slop content type thing. But he finally starts talking about Pirate Software here because it's at the end of the life cycle of this initiative and it's not looking promising, so he's willing to do
I probably did the UK one, but I don't... Well, if the UK one is for residents, then I probably did, but...
Set the record straight and hopefully start getting more momentum back to the movement because the damage Pirate Software did to it through his video was substantial.
This video came out right as we were building momentum, then except for one boost in Germany, the signatures started drying up like clockwork.
Pirate Software on Suicide Watch.
Ford does not understand what Stop Killing Games is. Here it is in his words.
So for those who don't understand, the Stop Killing Games initiatives is basically we don't want single player games in act. This is what about need a player game that has service games.
Killing games include single to them. No idea where he got that impression.
Hold up.
Reality of games they have sold.
The Cliff Notes summary right. He missed all the QT
from earlier, and he was mostly
this
talking
is what
about
I
the
want.
initiative.
He didn't even get the Cliff Notes summary right. He missed all the QTEs and got the bad ending on understanding the initiative from the jump here. Ross is correct. This has nothing to do with just single-player-only games that require an online connection, that when the online connection is severed, you lose access to the game. Like, yeah, that is included in all of this, but that's not, like, what the whole movement is about. And for some reason, Pirate Software is stun-locked on that, like, fixated, as if that is the actual, like, meat and potatoes of Stop Killing Games. They need to be more specific in their language about it being single-player, always online connectivity games. When that's just not what it's about. Like, they're not being specific about that because that is not what they are specifically targeting. It is about the whole practice of destroying games that consumers have already purchased and having no end-of-life plans for games that are being sunset.
Does Charlie just repeat what has just been said? Is he just a pure summarizer? I haven't watched many of his videos. I only really watched the Sneeko debate. Like, I've started doing that because, you need to for the YouTube audience. No offense. You need to do some of this, but I've started doing that in addition to what I'd normally say. Okay. Let's check the Mutahar video. I just search for pirate, actually. Do more pirate searches. It looks like he is literally just summarizing what was simply said. Okay. I'm not saying there's necessarily anything wrong with it. It's just not worth me looking at, right? We watched the video. And we watched it again here, and then we're listening to him summarize it again. Not useful for me. Nothing to say about it. Because I've already said it about this stuff. Stop killing gays.
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mutahar, and today I've got a bit of a sad little gaming video to talk about. Now, one of my favorite channels on the internet, Accursed Farms.
Is he a caveman? Hello, me Mutahar.
Ross, the fellow behind something known as Stop Killing Games, an initiative that's simple. Stop killing video games. You know, you and I love playing video games. You know, we probably play video games released literally today, okay? There's a game called Death Stranding 2 I'm pretty excited for. It's coming out in a couple days. You know, boom, excited. But I also play a lot of old stuff. I was playing
So, what? So far, these two videos have gotten it like 20,000 more SIGs. Video starts at 11. Real pirate hours. Hang on, I'll just search pirate. That's how you do it. Here we go.
Now, one of the things that, you know, has really kind of rubbed me weird about this is one online content creator known as Pirate Software. Now, Pirate Software is a pretty popular creator. You know, he's somebody that is known as an independent video game developer.
It needs 500,000? I thought it needed 1 million. Am I insane?
He's a pretty popular personality. And
or do you mean 500,000 more?
According to Ross, and I wasn't really knowledgeable about how much of an impact Pirate Software has had, but one of his videos regarding Stop Killing Games was actually filled with a lot of misinformation, according to Ross, and honestly according to even Louis Rossman.
Hopefully, with Mutahar hitting it and with Charlie hitting it especially, hopefully it will radiate out. Hopefully it will radiate out.
And honestly, me at this point, the more I watch any content related to this, critical of this video by Pirate Software, because realistically, it really seems like he might have been somebody that has taken the wind out of the sails.
Thor's coverage has been bigger than literally anyone else on those lists, except Asmongold. And the only video Asmongold had on this bigger than Thor's was about Thor's video. So for all practical purposes, Thor here has been the #1.
They have to like create games. They have to have a logical sunset plan, so when things come...
Just summarizing why things are done. I just wanted to hear if there was any pirate shit talk. Hang on. Why am I going into the script? Okay. Just a compliment to it. Nah, it's a waste of time. There's nothing fun here. There's nothing fun here. I was searching pirate. Sad. Disappointed! Put pirate in there. Not pirate. Firefox. Okay. We're back, boys. Bam. Watch more Gamer Man. I could. I don't think there's any more Gamerman. What is this? Lucky Bee has sent me something. She also sent me that Struthless still hasn't explained what he's doing with the money, but I couldn't get the original video. Like, he wasn't even on the farms or anything. What is this? I've been sent an Instagrussie. Pardon me. The sore throat's gone, but I've got a cough. What's going on here then?
Rightmove. So I just had a little look back on Google Maps of what it used to look like, and this is what it looked like in 2017. Got a lot of character, got a lot of personality, a lot of nature surrounded by it, but wait until you see what it looks like in 2020.
A lot of nature surrounding it.
24,
okay.
Because I was not ready for it. This is what the new owners have done to it, and honestly, what have they done to it? They have absolutely ruined it.
They've grey-pilled it. We have people doing that around here. You'll see people move into a house that has a garden and then they just fucking pave it. They just pave everything. It blows my mind.
They've cut all of the trees down. There is absolutely...
That's disgusting.
You know, personality. And the place is actually up for sale on Rightmove. This is a...
You're going to hear the traffic echoing off that floor.
Two-bed detached bungalow in Bolton going for 300k. Let's take a look inside. Jesus Christ, what have they done to it? This has got to be the most depressing interior I've ever seen. It literally gets worse. Wait for it. This is the bathroom.
Tacky.
But honestly, you will not be ready for the kitchen. Why do people just make...
What the fuck? I was going to say, just kind of tacky. The bathroom looks fine or whatever. It's just where you shit. This is, like, makes me not want to eat. That's gross. There's something sickening about it. Like you've got larvae on your floor.
Everything grey. Where is the character? Where is the personality? This is just ridiculous. This is what they're supposedly calling the dining room. And honestly, this looks like Weatherspoons. This is one of the bedrooms, and this doesn't look as bad. But I'm sorry, that wallpaper and those...
It's a bit too girly. It's like... This is like an infantile grandma's room. An old woman with dementia who thinks she's 5 years old.
Curtains are atrocious. Just the thought of what this property used to look like is actually depressing. I genuinely don't know why people ruin their properties like that. And just a reminder, this is a two-bed detached property in Bolton going for 300k, and this is what it used to look like in 2017.
Yeah, let's get it. Something I want to show you, by the way. There's another thing that's on Instagram. Hang on. You know, I told you I got tacos from a like street food stall and it wasn't very good. Let me show you. They have an Instagram. Like and like the fucking... Let's see if he does the dip. Is this gonna be a dip one? Look at... No. Like actually, what the... There was just so much fucking liquid and grease. Poop mound. They're gonna dip it, aren't they? Ah! I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. But it wasn't Berea, you're right. It was Berea. It was real salty. The beef itself tasted okay. It was just stewed beef. But that's all you could taste, and it ruined my fucking trousers. It's not chili oil! It's not chili oil. It's a consommé, they call it. I've had this. I've eaten this. It wasn't good. What was I going to look at? They're also a rip-off of another local business, except they're the halal version. There's another local business that serves pork, and they're the halal version, and they suck. I don't know if another one works. Show my breakfast. I know you mean that literally, but like, sounds like a euphemism. Is that a tortilla with cheese on it? What am I looking at? What is this? Could be a number of things. Could be like egg with cheese on it. It's something with cheese on it. What is it, Zara? Eggs with tomatoes, peppers, onion, and cheese. Okay. Just becomes a bit anonymous because, you know, the disc, when you put cheese over the disc, I can just see that it's a disc and cheese. I imagine it was nice. I'll check the React section. I'll see if I can get the Struthless. I looked for the Struthless video a bit today, but I couldn't find it. I'll see if I can get that for Friday. What is this? How long is this?
Cat food.
We're not watching cat food. Just give me a second. You know what? I don't feel like watching a half-hour video of someone explaining how a gender transition made them better at a video game. I don't think I will watch that. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to say goodbye until Friday. I'll see you on Friday. I'll find some cool things to watch then. See if you can cool down. You need some time to cool down from the pirate software fury. Alright, thanks very much for the viewership, companionship, incredible generosity. Till Friday. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the fig tree bite. I'm pretty much okay now. I'm pretty much better. A little bit off because my sleep's been fucked, but by Friday I'll be 100%. Thank you for the $5.
Anon says fed the streamer a $5 superberry. Agent 47 commentating melted Keanu Reeves and tracking H-1B visa progress.